Hey there, everybody. It's Roamin Rich. Good to see you again on this lovely July 16th. Or is it July 17th? We will determine that in just a second. But no matter, this is episode number 22 of 66 Minutes with Roamin Rich. Thank you so much for joining me again. If it's your first time, we sit here and talk about all sorts of things related to Route 66. We usually have some Q&A sessions and some interactive aspects to the show. The show is streamed live every Sunday at 7 p.m. Central Time, and it's unscripted and completely random for the most part. We do have some outline that we follow, but the rest is kind of up to you. So, okay, my guest for tonight, which we'll bring out later on, is Andrew Webb, and he comes from Australia. If that'll be a little bit of a clue here for you as to how we're going to be in the future. So, but we'll just kind of get right to the show here. And the first thing up is my shirt of the week. It's not Route 66, but it is fun and it's travel related. Here it is. George, go ahead and roll it out to him. Maybe I'll do it. Let's see here. Okay, there it is. The Me So Corny t-shirt. Yes. So this comes to us from Mitchell, South Dakota. And this is a shirt I picked up earlier this year when my daughter and I were grabbing the Adventure Truck 2.0. Maybe we could fast forward to one of those photos. Show the Adventure Truck, and then maybe show the Corn Palace as well. There's the Corn Palace. That's an image of what it looked like this year. This is the Adventure Truck, me hauling it home in like sub-zero temperatures. I literally think it was like -5 degrees when I went and picked up the truck. Truck's doing great. Let's go back and look at the Corn Palace real quick. The Corn Palace has been around for, gosh, I think over 100 and some odd years, and it's been rebuilt a few times, but they have a different theme every year. This is from 1965. It's a pretty cool image, and they redo this thing every single year. It has a new scene and a new theme. It's a lot of fun, and the place was really cool. The whole town of Mitchell is really neat. So if you get up to South Dakota, you should definitely check it out. Let's see my shirt one more time, George, because it's pretty fun. Me So Corny. It's a pretty fun shirt. My wife asked me tonight, she's like, "Are you really going to wear that shirt?" I said, "Yeah." She's like, "It's not Route 66. I said, I know. She's like, you shouldn't wear that shirt. So should I have worn it? You guys tell me. Okay. So let's roll on into the next segment. This is a continuation from last week. So let me see here. Where were we at last week? Oh, yeah, we were in the Where's Roamin Rich? So I guess maybe I'll cover last week's segment of Roamin Rich because there was some ongoing conversations in the 66 Minutes group as to where was this photo. So let me share my screen here. Give me just a moment. Bear with me for a second, and we'll cover that. Okay, so there's Peg's Diner. And that's not the screen I wanted to share. Hold on a second here. Let's see here. Let's go back and try this again. Okay, we're going to get... Okay, this is what I wanted to show everybody. This is the Peg's Diner image that we showed last week, the mystery. And did we solve it? Yeah, we did solve it. But before I show you where this is at, take a look up in the upper left-hand part of the screen there, the 66 Cafe. That's what got me. I thought that this might have been in either California or Arizona, namely Holbrook for Joe and Aggie's Cafe, possibly. Turns out it's in Tucson, Arizona. Nowhere on Route 66. This is it today. It still stands. It actually even looks different than this. It doesn't even look like this anymore. It's like a tattoo shop or something right now. But this image showed it just, I think, 7-8 years ago. So anyway, the mystery is solved of Peg's Cafe, and we were kind of bummed out to find out that it was in Tucson, Arizona. So there you go. The next part we'll cover is where's Roamin Rich? So if you guys are curious about this segment, we do this in our Facebook group, 66 Minutes, and we'll pop up a QR code up in the corner over here, and you can click on that QR code, and that'll take you to the group. If you're not already a member of the group, click on that QR code, become a member, because there's a whole lot of activity in there, a whole lot of people sharing pictures and stories and things like that. And it's where I share a lot of the things that happen here in the show with you directly. So let me go back and find my section here. So the Where's Roamin Rich segment is I will post a picture in the 66 Minutes Facebook group, and then a number of people will try to guess where this photo came from, where it was taken. And so I'm going to go to that right now. Just a moment. There it is. Yep. Okay. That's the 66 Minutes. Where is Roamin Rich post? Where is it? I got people on this one. There was a lot of people that got it, but there was a lot of people that didn't. And I knew it would be somewhat of a curveball because if you look at the door, it says McCarty's, and there's a McCarty's, New Mexico. And that's where people thought it was at. It wasn't. It is in Eric, Oklahoma. It's on kind of the west end of town. And I do believe somebody had posted where this was at exactly. And let's see here. I think it was Scott Sheehan or somebody that had posted exactly where it was at. But it was in Eric, Oklahoma. We had a few people guess correctly. I'm trying to get back into my feed here to find where it was at. Let's see here. Okay, so I'm going down through the feed, and we had the McCarty, New Mexico. That wasn't it. Scott Sheehan, he got it right. Let's see here. Mike Johnson thought it was New Mexico. Nick Gerlich got it right. Tim Berglund got it right. He actually posted an image of where it is today, and I'm going to share his image because I don't have one pulled up of the wider view. So there it is today. That's the little store on the far west end of town of Eric, Oklahoma. You can kind of see the door, the little push bars and stuff like that. So that's where Roamin Rich was at. I think I'd shot that picture sometime in 2015 or so. So things have changed just a little bit. Thank you, everyone, for participating. Somebody even said that there was one in Google or Georgia. So that was kind of a curveball. I might even share a little bit tougher one this next time. So be sure to get in the group and join us. You'll have a great time. It's just a lot of fun showing these photos and seeing where they're at and seeing everybody else's photos too. Okay, what's our next segment? So we got that. I guess we're going to go to the future, George, and we're going to bring in Andrew Webb from Australia. Let's bring him in. Oh, he's so tiny. There he is.
Good morning.
Good. What? Good morning. Good. What do you mean, good morning?
Well, it's 10 a.m. on Monday morning. What time is it there?
It's 7:11 p.m. on Sunday evening.
Oh, we're well ahead of you.
So we're coming from the future. That's awesome. 10 a.m. So how are you feeling? Did you get your coffee and everything in this morning?
I'm done. Absolutely. Set for the day now.
I love your display in the background. You must be really devoted to Route 66.
I am. Well, once this segment finishes, I'll have to put that flag back downstairs in the garage where my wife allows it to be rather than in the study.
Okay. So Andrew is from Sydney, Australia. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yes.
Okay. Now, for the domestic viewers, explain why on earth anybody from outside of the United States would be interested in Route 66, even to the remote extent.
Well, I guess I think from my point of view, it's sort of I have a big connection with cars, not the movie Cars. Anyway, motor vehicles.
The car culture, yeah.
Numerous times. And I think it was on one of my very first trips. I was driving back from the east to the west, and I noticed some signage that indicated Route 66. So I had to take that detour. And, and I'm pretty sure at that moment in time, I was just struck with Route 66. And I sort of relate this to you quite a bit. I think that you were being interviewed in a YouTube clip some years ago where in the background, I think it's the MacArthur Bridge was in the background where you're being interviewed.
That's right.
You were talking about how when you started, it was first of all the road, and then it was the buildings, and then it was the people, and so on. And that's exactly what I've just been I just can't get enough of Route 66. Basically, I want to explore more and more and more, understand the road, the different alignments, the buildings, the people, the history, and now the preservation of Route 66. And I think there is, with most car people, there is a bit of a connection between, all things old and Route 66 being all things old. And that's where I think the connection is. Yep.
Yeah, all things old and all things unique to their own, where people's passions have been put out on display, so to speak.
Yes.
Where people get to put their energy and their passion into their business or into whatever it is, their attraction they have on the side of the road. Most of the times it's business related, but yeah, seeing those
Absolutely.
people. So,
and I've just been very fortunate in my life that I've been able to travel to the US numerous times, and each time I get over there, I tack off a little bit of Route 66. I've done the whole thing, not in one go, but and I've done some sections half a dozen times now. So it's I just can't get enough.
So how many times do you think you've been to the States?
So 2002, 2003, 2005, 2008, 2010, 15, 18, and I was actually there in 2020, which let's not talk about that because that was a bit of a disaster. But
did you sneak over here? How did you manage that?
Well, I arrived in March 2020, just as the world was coming to an end. And the main reason I was going that particular time got cancelled, so I had to come back home early. But anyway, I'm coming back next year.
That's awesome. So you're coming back in 24.
Yes, correct.
So when you come back in 24, what segments do you hope to do?
The main reason I'm going is I usually have a car connection. There's a swap meet in Chickasha, Oklahoma. So I'll go there for 2 or 3 days, and then I've pretty much got about 15 days where I fly into Dallas and I fly out of LA. So I'll be exploring. I've got 15 days. There's one thing on my list that I have to do, and that's to meet you, because we've never actually met. Even though we've communicated numerous times, we've never met.
No, Andrew and I have been buddies for, gosh, I'm thinking about 10 years now at least, hasn't it been?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, and he's been a huge support for all these different projects that I've thrown out there to the public for support, and he's been always the first in line to throw down for support. And if it wasn't for people like Andrew all over the world, it would be much more difficult to promote and preserve these places. So on the air, formally, I'd like to say thank you for all your support.
That's all right. Thank you for all you do. You do a lot more than me.
So when are you coming in 24?
What month? In March.
Yeah. March. Okay.
Yeah. I know it's not ideal, but that's when the swap meet is. And I'll probably get stuck in another snowstorm somewhere. But anyway.
Did you get stuck in a snowstorm?
I did. Yeah. Well, a couple of times, but that was in 2010. Went to the Chickasha swap meet, and along the way we went Route 66 to get there from LA. And at that point in time, it popped up to do the Santa Fe loop and got caught in a storm up in Santa Fe. Mm-hmm. And I believe, and long before I knew Roamin Rich, we probably crossed paths during that storm.
I think so. See, I'll kind of give the audience a little heads up. Andrew and I discussed this a little bit before we went on the air, and it's so coincidental that I happened to be in Santa Fe at the same time he was in Santa Fe. Andrew, what year was this?
This is 2010.
2010. So 13 years ago, he was able to recount this event. And see, I have a horrible memory. I thought it was somewhere between 2008 and 2011 and couldn't remember when, but he zeroed in on it and said basically, yeah, in 2010 in March, he was there. And I said, wait a second, I remember a snowstorm. So in that photo that George has pulled up, that's my car. That's my 2006 Ford Freestyle that my wife and I were doing Route 66 in with our 18-month-old daughter at the time. And Andrew, tell the story about the storm and all this stuff. What did you think about the storm?
Well, there was actually two storms I got caught in. That was the first one, and we were pretty much off the road by the time the storm came through. We found accommodation. But then fast forward 3 or 4 days, we got to the swap meet, and we finished the swap meet, and we're heading back to LA. And while we were there, everybody kept saying to us, "Oh, be careful of the storms. We've heard they're rolling in." And we're from Australia. It doesn't really snow here. We get storms, of course, but they're not like storms that you guys have. So sure enough, the swap meet finishes. We jump in the rental or the hire car, as we say. We head back towards LA. We probably drove for about 4 or 6 hours, and all of a sudden, we're on the interstate at this point in time, alongside Route 66, of course. The traffic just stopped on the interstate, and we couldn't work out what was going on, although you could see some sort of grey clouds in the sky. And then it just slowly started to snow. And then we sat in the exact same position. We never moved, just like very similar to the picture that is on the screen now. We didn't move off the interstate for another 8 or 9 hours. We stayed stationary and did not move. Luckily, we just filled up with fuel. We had no food, no water, and then we worked out they're talking about a snowstorm, not just a storm. So we finally, at about midnight, we slowly started to move again on the interstate, and probably a mile up the road, there's all these cars and trucks off the road, on their side, on their roofs. It was just, we've never seen anything before in our entire lives. The Australian that was with me. We finally got to we call a service station, or you guys call a gas station.
Yeah.
We were starving. We went there to get some food. All the shelves are empty. There's no food left. There's no drink left. Everything is completely empty, like as if the place had been ransacked. But we finally got into Albuquerque, I should say, about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, into our accommodation, and there we go. That was our. We now understand completely what the term storm means.
Yeah, the people in the Southwest United States, they have a completely different interpretation of storm than what we have here in the Midwest, and then even some of my neighbors to the north have. If it's not 6 inches of snow on the ground or more, we're just not terribly worried about it. You go up north to say Michigan or Wisconsin, they don't bat an eye until you have about 12 inches on the ground, but see down there in the Southwest, if it snows just an inch or two, you got trouble. And I remember being on a highway in the Santa Fe Loop, just north of Santa Fe, and my we were seeing these warnings on the teleprompters on the highway of storms, and I said, we'll be fine.
Yeah.
She's like, I don't know. I don't think so. She's like, you better get off the highway. So we went ahead and got off the highway in Santa Fe, and we couldn't find a hotel. We found a Hampton Inn with 1 room left, and we snagged it. It ended up snowing 6 inches. That's a lot for out there.
It was.
Yeah. It was 6 inches. And I tell you, we went out the next day. That was the picture that was up on the screen. Pop it back up again, George. We went out the next day, and I thought, we'll get out there to La Bajada. And that's me turning around at the bridge at La Bajada. There's one other photo there that we shot. and we barely made it out of there. That car barely made it out of there. It was just so sloppy and nasty and messy. That's like a mud road. It's not really. It might have a little bit of gravel on it, but it's mostly dirt. And with all that snow and stuff on it, we barely got out of there. She was unhappy with me in my ambitions to explore. So that's pretty crazy. We'll have to reunite out there or something. If you're going to be out that way in March, we'll have to make it a point to get out there and meet up.
Absolutely. Let's do it. Yep.
Yeah. So let's see some of your pictures. You sent some pictures up.
I did. Yeah.
So tell me about let's see some of these cars or something, George, that he's got. He had a couple of cars. You can tell me about your collection and stuff. And
sure.
I'm assuming your trips out here to Oklahoma, are you purchasing parts and then sending them back to Australia for sale, or do you have a business doing that, or what?
I don't know. It's just for my personal collection.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he's still finding those pictures. So yeah, I'm just kind of curious because that, man, like, even for us here, we'll maybe go into another state, but flying across to a different continent, that seems extreme. So
I'll give you a really good comparison of, I'm sure you've all heard the term swap meets before.
Yeah, that's what we call them here.
If I put together all the swap meets I've ever been to in Australia in my entire lifetime, just going to one swap meet in America is probably equivalent to.
Really?
So, you guys are definitely the land of where it all is, because you've still got it all. Yeah.
So one swap meet here in the States is equivalent to a couple different, or a whole lifetime of swap meets in Australia. I don't know what's happening here with our. There we go. Yeah. So tell me about this car here. What? I know what it is. Don't tell anybody the year. Don't tell anybody the year. I know what it is.
Yeah. Who's going to put in the chat what year it is? Let's see.
Does anybody? I don't know if anyone's going to guess quick enough. But so this is a Firebird.
That's my Firebird. Yes, it's a left-hand drive American car. We never got Firebirds in Australia. There we go. Kenny just answered the right.
Yep, Kenny guessed was 68. There was a couple others 68. I don't see anybody guessing 67. Go ahead and tell us what the difference between 67.
It's definitely a 68. Yeah, it's the front park lights. The position of those.
It's one other thing too, isn't it?
They're the quarter windows as well.
That's right. The wing windows is what I call them. The vent windows. 67 has it. 68 doesn't.
Yes.
Well, that's Ken a beautiful car.
Ken has a 67, so he should know. He's just put it up there.
You guys are buddies.
We're going to have to be now. I got that car in 2002. It was pretty totaled when I got it. I got it here in Australia. Someone else had imported it out here. There was no front end. There was a front chassis. There was no engine, no gearbox. And it had paint on it, numerous coats of paint, and it looked okay, but it wasn't until I got it sandblasted or de-blasted, it came back, and oh my gosh, it was full of rust.
Swiss cheese.
It had probably 3 accidents in the back and in the quarter panels. The amount of what we call bog, you guys call bondo, was just out of this world. Like, I'm talking inches thick. So we had to replace both the quarter panels, the rear beaver panel, all the floors. Actually, the only original sheet metal on the car is the roof and the doors.
Wow.
So all the rest is new. It's got a 350 in it, a 350 Chev rather than a Pontiac engine. They're just much more common and
much easier to work, much easier to get parts for on a 350 Chevy.
Yeah, and it goes all right. It's 480 horsepower with 460 foot-pound of torque. So, the only thing that really happens is the back tires just turn. You can't really put it down onto the ground.
Yeah, that's a lot of horsepower for a small block.
It is, yeah.
Let's look at your next one here. You sent another one over, and this one I wasn't familiar with. So I'm curious about this next one that George is going to pop up if he gets it. We'll see. There it is. Okay.
So I sort of I sort of bat for both teams, if you can use that expression. I'm a forward and
Yeah.
a holding guy, right?
Yeah.
So that's a Model T Ford. That's a 1913 Speedster body. It's modified of the day. It's got a lot of period correct accessories on the car, such as the wire wheels that are on there. It's got a overhead valve head conversion. It would normally be side valve, and it's got an auxiliary gearbox in it as well. So it gives you additional gears on top of the Ford gears.
So you
But
can do more than 45 miles per hour?
you probably could, yeah. It's pretty scary though, because there's really no brakes. Like,
It's
yeah,
got manual linkage brakes on it, I
yeah,
guess.
correct. There's no front
Great.
brakes. It's only rear brakes only, and you've only got an inch and a half of rubber on the road. So
Scary. That would be
it
scary.
is. But I actually have a collect, and that's the main reason I go to the US is to collect parts for these cars. I've actually got 13 of them.
13.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
No, I was not aware. That is a ton of cars.
Yeah, that's it there. Yeah, that's it with all the brass polished. It takes about 6 hours to polish the brass.
That's
It's
a
a
that's a
killer.
beautiful angle on that car. Yeah. So is this your favorite one out of the 13?
That is, yeah. Out of the 13, there's only 4 that are restored. All the rest are major projects. Yeah, yeah.
You gonna get them all done one day, or is it just something you keep around for parts?
I've determined I need to live until about 150 years old to get them all done.
I know all about projects, man.
Yeah.
Trust me. Somehow you seem to get some done, and I buy more and don't do anything with them, which is what most men do up here. Okay, that's awesome. So George, do we have any pictures of some of Andrew's adventures out on Route 66? I think we might. We'd like to maybe see some of those. Some of the places you visited, I'm very aware of. This one here, I know where this is at, but I'd like for you to explain to the audience what we're looking at here, because this is not a highway bridge, is it?
That is not. That's a rail bridge.
That's right. That's a railroad bridge.
If we just panned to the left, which we can't, there used to be a bridge there.
Right.
That's the Canadian River, isn't it? The Canadian River.
East Canadian River. That's right.
East Canadian River in Bridgeport. But I have a story to tell about this picture. When I was there in 2015, I was actually there for work by coincidence. I was in the US for 4 weeks for work at the time, and I had the weekends off. So I went exploring. I was located around Oklahoma and Tulsa. So I was exploring this area where the old timber suspension bridge goes across the river. And whilst I was there, I thought to myself, that bridge down or upstream, whatever it is, looks very picturesque. I might go down and take some pictures of that. So you sort of got to drive a little bit down. You can't drive all the way to it. And I parked the car, and I was walking down the rail lines to have a look at the bridge. And as I was very confidently walking down there, something moved underneath my feet. So I've jumped back, landed on the ground. It's a snake, of course. It was hiding in the rotten rail sleepers. And coming from a country where a lot of the snakes in this country sort of, want to take you down, so to speak. I wasn't going to take pictures that day. I decided we'll give it a miss. So, but I think Rich has told me that the snake that I was running from may have been a corn snake.
Yeah, probably was. It was like a yellowish color. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. It was a big size, but it was, anyway. I don't take any chances with snakes, so I was out of there.
They can still be startling. I've ran across a number of different snakes, but up here in North America, at least, you've got far less likelihood of encountering a venomous snake that can take you out.
Yeah.
Down there in Australia, you've got probably more that can kill you than are harmless.
I think in the top 10, we have like 5 or 6 in the top 10 around the world.
Yeah.
Just here. Yeah.
Yeah. So I like to, every time the word snake comes up, I like to issue out this real nice, soft reminder to people that if you're going to go out exploring 66 and you're going to go off the path, if you're going to go into the weeds or you're going to start lifting up debris like rocks or old signs or metal roofing or anything like that, you better have some snake protection, namely snake boots.
Yes.
And, just watch where you stick your hand. I know of several people that have been bitten by venomous snakes, and it's not fun. So
it's not. I'm going to try and avoid that.
That's a beautiful picture, though. So for those of you that don't know, that's what we call Bridgeport, Oklahoma. It's south of Geary, Oklahoma. And this would have been the vicinity of the original alignment of Route 66 that used to cross over the East Canadian River via a suspension bridge that had burned sometime in, I believe, in the 30s, if memory serves correct. And all that's left now is the vertical pillars that used to hold the suspension cables. And I probably should have had my pictures ready to pull up, but I don't. So I apologize. I'm going to make a note. And again, click on that QR code up there. I'll go ahead and put some of my pictures up there later that shows what's left of that Bridgeport Bridge. And then I've got some old pictures too. I'll post those at the same time so you can see what it used to look like. It's pretty neat.
Interestingly, it's one of my favorite places on 66. It really is. I've actually been to this location 3 times in my lifetime. So there you go.
That's pretty amazing for someone from Australia. It's most 66ers don't ever get to see it. I think I've been there 3 or 4 times myself. And it's one of my favorite spots, probably for the same reasons. It's just very remote, and you don't see. I've never seen another soul there in all my visits, so you have it all to yourself. It's pretty nice.
And as this picture was taken, I also had it to myself.
Let me guess the year on this one.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm gonna guess. Oh, I can't see very well. I'm going to give 2 guesses. I'm going to say either 2010 or 2014.
Well, you're wrong.
Okay.
It was actually in March 2018.
Was it really? Okay. Because I can't see. We hadn't been there yet then. So you got it before we bought it. You got it before we bought it.
2 to 3 weeks before the announcement came out.
Okay.
So when I was there, I think I rang you and I just said to you, I'm a little bit concerned about this thing falling over. And I remember your words exactly. Don't panic. Something's going to happen. You have to wait. And it did. There we go.
I can't tell you what, but you just have to have faith in me. I tell people that a lot. Yeah. I see what I was looking for in the image. I was looking for a strand of barbed wire.
Yeah, it is there.
I just can't see it. Yeah, because I think it was in 2012 or 2010. No, it was 2010. I ran barbed wire. Oh, I see it now. I see in the left-hand windowsill to the left of cold drinks. Yeah, so I see the barbed wire. I put that in 2010, that barbed wire. Not very well. I thought I was creating a deterrent for the cows. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. I don't know. But
what a fantastic job has been done there. Absolutely brilliant.
Thank you. You've been out there since we finished it, haven't you?
I have. Yes, I was there in 2020 with John. Yes.
That's right. Yeah, John Jimenez. He posted up in there in the chat that you had he'd let you in.
He did.
That's
and
good.
I've got all the shirts, all the shirts.
They're going to be collector's items one day. People are going to want to buy the whole set. It's like Burma shave signs. So I do want to. There were some chat questions here. Somebody asked about the brass radiator on your Model T.
That is. I wouldn't call it as a genuine accessory of the day. It's called a Livingston radiator. So it's a V radiator. So rather than the core being front, it's got a V at the front. That's an original one. So and I had to put a new core in it because the core had some problems, and that cost me a lot of money to get that core redone. Yeah, but it's a very beautiful piece.
Yeah, it really sets the whole car off, especially with the radiator hood ornament with the thermometer in it.
Yes,
and your polished bezels on the headlights with the little doors on it and stuff. It's really cool. Somebody else asked if you're planning on being here in 26.
I do plan to be there in 2026. Yes, I had this scheme in my head that I don't think is going to happen. I've got downstairs another Model T, a 1926 Model T. So I think it's November built, 26. So my plan was to build that and bring it to the US and drive it the entire length. But I don't think that's going to happen. It's shipping costs have just quadrupled in the past 3 or 4 years. So it's cost prohibitive to do that. But I will definitely be there. I might. I was considering engaging with some of the Model T people I know in the US to put something together. I'm not sure what that's going to be yet, but some sort of trip. It may not be the all the Model Ts doing the entire thing from one end to the other, but they'll join as they live in those areas and have a motorcade all the way. Which direction we go, I don't know, but in 2026.
Well, that'll be awesome. I know some Model A fellas here in St. Louis that are really good. So that'll be pretty neat. Maybe I'll mention it to them. Do the Model A guys get along with the Model T guys?
We definitely do. Yeah, they're our cousins, most definitely.
That's good. I know they're totally different. It's like comparing they're just totally different cars. I mean,
they are 100%. Yeah. They've got brakes.
Yeah, they got brakes. They've got pressurized oil system.
I think it's still flush feed. I think. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not going to pretend to know. It's beyond my time. I mess with 80s cars, and I used to mess with 50s cars and stuff like that. Now I just try not to mess with any of them. So
yes.
Well, here's what we're going to do next. We're going to. I mentioned this on the last episode in number 21. How I saw this documentary from Justin West. He sent it to me. It's called Motel, and I'm just going to bring up a couple of the clips from it, and we're just going to talk about it here just for a second. And I got some notes here. I'm going to play this clip here just for a moment. So I really like the music is something else, but I really like that last scene of the Arrow Motel, that animated Indian chief firing the arrow. I thought that was killer. That is from 1989, and I posted in the 66 Minutes Facebook group a link to that video. It's on YouTube. Anybody can watch it. It's free of commercials as far as I know, but I thought it was pretty neat. 1989 was a year that my dad and I did a cross-country trip across the United States, and we did a lot of Route 66. We didn't really realize at the time, but we did a bunch. And one of the very first motel they talk about is the Silver Saddle Motel in Santa Fe, New Mexico. It's still there. They just recently changed the name of it, and they did some refurbishing, but the building and everything is still there, which is cool. I think it's great. The documentary also covers like truckers, how truckers stay in their sleepers in their cab and stuff. And it's brief, but they talk about it. They do some. There's a lot of B-roll that covers some signage of our beloved Route 66 roadside attractions. The Wigwam's on there. There's a bunch of them on there that are, some of them are gone now, but some of them are still in existence. It talks about this the Blue Mist Motel in Florence, Arizona. It's on 66, but the story behind it's pretty intriguing because it talks about how the motel is right next to a state penitentiary, and they used to do furloughs. The state would allow inmates time off and to go to the motel to have these like conjugal visits, I guess.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Can you believe that? Like they bring this up, they tell the stories about these visits, and of course, what do you think happens, Andrew?
They don't return?
Well, what happened was this guy gets out, he goes over to the motel, he meets with his mother, maybe it's his stepmother, I think. And they're having an intimate affair or something, and allegedly she dies. But what happens next is that he hacks her all to pieces. This is something you'd see in like a horror movie. He hacks her all to pieces and then starts trying to take the pieces of her to different restaurants around the town of Florence as like dog food. Say, hey,
oh, really?
Yeah, oh, it's horrible. You would. They lead into this early in the video, and you're like, there's no way this isn't true. But then they actually go into how it all happened and everything. It's just nuts. Wow. So, but even what I thought was more nuts is the fact that they thought they could allow people out of prison to go to the motel. Like, that's unheard of. Yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah. I think that still happens today. Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
So, Facebook user, let's see here. What is the name of the Motel documentary? It's simply called Motel, a 1989 documentary. You're obviously on Facebook, so go to our 66 Minutes Facebook group, Google it, do whatever you got to do, search for it, find it. I just posted it a few minutes before we went live. You'll see the link to it. They also get into, which I thought this was neat. I'd never heard of this place, but I'd always dreamed of the concept in my mind. So the Movie Manor in Colorado, it's a drive-in movie theater first that was built in 1955, and later the owners built a motel around it, purposely aiming the motel rooms at the screen with these big picture window glass windows and speakers inside of the rooms where you could watch your movie from the motel room. I thought,
oh, really? Wow.
It is still there and it's still open. It's called the Manor, Movie Manor. It's in Colorado. And I thought that was really killer. The last one, and they dwell on this one for 20 minutes of the documentary. It probably takes the cake on all the different ones they touch on. And it's called the Armagasso Opera House. It's in Death Valley. Now, I've been there. I also decided to go on a journey in, January of 21, when everything was going crazy. And again, Death Valley's in California, so everything there was shut down. But I was out that way doing a race with Corvettes, and I was in Nevada, and I had my car with me, and I thought, man, I want to go to Death Valley. So I went to Death Valley, and I took off out that way, and I was like, I don't want to stay in my motel back in Nevada. I want to stay somewhere in Death Valley. Well, I came across the Hotel Armagasso, and I'm going to show a clip from that just real quick here. Let me see if I can get to that. Okay, here it comes. This is what I saw during my visit, but this is from the documentary from 1989. That's the only part of the clip I have for that. The gal that you saw there, she single-handedly was trying to rescue that hotel. She was there until she died in 2017. She was 90 years old.
Wow.
And I thought that was pretty neat. I tried to get a room there, but man, because of the government, they just wouldn't. I called them. I said, I really want to get a room here. They said, we're sorry, we can't. We're on lockdown. We can't rent you a room. I said, I'll pay you cash, and I won't tell nobody. He's like, no, we really can't. I was like, I'll pay you double. And they're like,
Yeah, wow.
sorry, but I did go and visit it. It's a neat place. It's in something Junction. It's Death Valley Junction, I believe, is what it is. And there's really nothing there. It's a ghost town. It used to be an old gas station across the street. It's pretty cool. I'll post some pictures in the Facebook group later because it was a really neat place, and I really wanted to stay there. Anyway, so George, do we have any other questions that have popped up for either Andrew or I?
No.
What?
No, you got some people talking about the documentary and stuff. Here you go. So there's a show on Magnolia Network called Motel Rescue. There's been 2 motels on there.
I've heard of that. Yeah, I've ever since I started diving into the Shamrock, people have mentioned that. I would love it if Motel Rescue came to my rescue. I would love it. I sure could use the help, especially financially.
We need to give them a call.
Yeah, please, somebody out there, call Motel Rescue. Say Roamin Rich needs your help.
So this is Nolan about the Armagoso.
Yeah, I was going to get into that. So George, you would have loved this place. There's an opera house there.
Probably. Well, yeah, that's what I heard is. There's the next one. Boom.
Yeah, there's an opera house there, and that's what drew her into this, because she was a performer, the gal that had died just a few years back, and she ran it mostly as an opera house, but was trying to renovate some of the rooms as well. So I thought it was really neat. I really want to stay there, but I thought, man, if I lived anywhere near Death Valley, I would love to catch a performance there. I think it'd be just one of the coolest things ever.
That's always cool catching them at some strange places. I mean, it's not on 66, but Red Rock in Colorado is one place that I know a lot of people go see shows. I'd really like to visit because it's got all the rocks just all around the stage, and that just looks really, really cool.
Yeah, one of the things that I think her name was Marta, that the 90-year-old that had died in 2017. She was also a painter and artist. So in the opera house, they had a hard time getting people there to begin with when she first started taking it over. So what she did was she painted an audience all the way around the three walls of the opera house room. She painted an audience. And as far as I know, wow, it's still there. It's places like that people like us, our Route 66 brethren here, that's what we love. And it's all over the world. I can't wait to get back out there again.
Yeah, that's real neat.
So Laura here is asking a question about La Posada. Alan and Tina had restored it beautifully. Yeah, I actually met Alan Afelt last year, the year before, and we interviewed him for the TV show Small Town Big Deal. And that dude's awesome. Not only did he do the La Posada, but he did the La Castaneda in Las Vegas, New Mexico. And he did one other hotel there, which is, always escapes me. I always want to call it the Continental, but I don't think that's it. It's around the town square in Las Vegas, New Mexico. Everything they do is beautiful. So yeah, if you're traveling 66, La Posada in Winslow, Arizona is one you want to go to. And Las Vegas, New Mexico is not far removed from Route 66, so you definitely want to stop there and check it out too. Yeah, an old standard gas station is across the street from Armagosa, and I'm not sure who brought that up. I can't see the name, but I'm going to post a photo of that gas station that you're talking about in the 66 Minutes group. It was a really neat gas station. Very cool. So, okay. Any other questions or comments there, George?
I mean, you got plenty of comments, no particular things that are going to divulge you into a different way or such, but yeah.
Okay. Well, everyone that's watching tonight, take an hour and a half, watch the movie. The quality's kind of junky. I actually had to work on those video clips tonight before I put them up. My video clips look better than theirs. So I did some improving on their video. But it's a good watch, especially the last part. The Armagasso is really cool. You get past all the murder and stuff, and you get into the passion, the beauty of why people, well, like me, why we do what we do, why we find ourselves into these projects. And it's no different than Andrew here with cars. Why we find ourselves doing these preservation projects, and cars are no different. They take a labor of love just as much. Okay. I guess we'll go on to 66 minutes, the happenings of 66. So this is a segment of the show where we visit the 66 Minutes Facebook group, and we look through the various posts and things like that have been submitted by our viewers. So let's check that out. Let me see if I can pop that up. Okay. I need a hot button for that. Probably can do it. I just don't know how. Okay. So this was from last week. Let's click here into the main group. There is the link that I posted earlier. You guys want to check that out.
I'll watch that.
What was that, Andrew?
I said I'll watch that.
Yeah. Well, you got all day now. Okay. So this is the La Cita. This is in Tucumcari, New Mexico. They've done a fantastic job there of getting it restored and back up and going. I think they're just missing some neon now, which would really set the place off. These are some sopapillas. For those of you that don't know what sopapillas are, it's kind of like a square donut that's kind of inflated. And I like to bite the corner off of them and just pour a whole freaking quart of honey down inside of them and gobble them up. They're just amazing. Make you good and fat. And Tim here shares with us the world's longest French fry that he got from the La Cita. Okay. Thank you very much, Tim, for showing us those. There's some promotion. This is cool. I like this one. This is from Gary. So Angel Del Gadillo's original pool hall that is south of the current Route 66 alignment. This is the original pool hall that Angel and his family had originally. And I think that's awesome. I've actually, to be honest, I've never gone back there and really tried to find this building. I've explored the alignment because I love roads, but I've never gone back and actually tried to find the building. So thank you, Gary, for doing that. Next time I'm in Seligman, I'm going to go check it out. Tim Berglund shares some other photos. He's got a ton of them in here. There's Gary's place, one of my favorite, of course. That's Linda. She's from the Blue Whale. And that must be Red Oak. There's our beloved Trading Post. I've never been to Esther's Diner, but that looks like, I'm going to guess Tulsa. Let me know if I'm wrong. I've been there before. I've been to Sid's. A lot of good places here. There's oh gosh, name escaped me for a second. Fran Hauser's place. Yep, all good stuff. Thank you, Tim, very much. Elmer, of course, I love Elmer's photos. It always comes up with these really dramatic scenes that he creates in post-production. That's a great looking view of Lucille's original roadhouse there in Oklahoma. He's got more images here. This is a good one that most people don't see. I like this one. Okay, so this is in Shamrock, Texas. It's not on Route 66, but it's only maybe about 2 blocks away. And I believe you go south on 83, and then you cut over back east a couple blocks, and you'll see this old gas station that was restored, I think, right around 2008 or so. It's been a while. A lot of other pictures. Oh, here's one from John Jimenez. I didn't see this earlier, so he's showing us the wigwams. here in Holbrook, Arizona on the outside. So yeah, you want to take a look at that. He's showing us all the different rooms and everything. What do you think, Andrew?
I've got to book one. I've been there, but I've never stayed overnight.
You've never slept in a wigwam?
No.
Or anything else for that matter?
Not like that.
Do you ever bring your wife on these trips?
Well, my wife was with me in 2008 on our honeymoon.
Okay, that's awesome. That's
otherwise,
awesome.
I get a leave pass.
Well, for those who are thinking about the wigwams, so there's two different sets on 66. There's another set in Cave City, Kentucky that's been recently refurbished. That's amazing. You got to stop at that one. The one in Holbrook is it's not refurbished so much, but it's very, very original and very, very unmolested because it's still in the ownership of the original proprietors. It's never been sold. It's in the same family since it was built, and I think it was built in the early 50s. Now there's the third one that I'm going to mention is out in Rialto, California. It's stunning. It's been refurbished. It's been modernized. It's very nice, very comfortable. They have a pool there. So you should go stay in all three of them is what I'm going to say. Even the one that's not on Route 66. More images of Shamrock. Very good stuff. Oh, here's the Joe and Aggies. How long is this? Oh, it's 3 minutes. I don't want to eat up a bunch of time. So I think here John is going to talk to us about my theory on that Peg's Cafe that we talked about in episode 21. So if you're not sure what we're talking about when it comes to Peg's Cafe, go back to episode 21 and take a look, and you'll see what we're talking about. John's going to go in here and maybe debunk it a little bit. What he's looking at right now is this door, probably. This is what caught my attention, was this former doorway. So I'll have to watch that video myself here in a little bit. Okay, there's an update on the neon restoration at the Blue Swallow. They had a really horrible storm, I think about 6 or 8 weeks ago, and they're recovering from that. They lost a lot of neon. They're getting it fixed up. And then we're back to my bridge, and it's funny. We're at this point now, so I'm gonna kill that. That's the MacArthur Bridge, and so let's see here. Does this look familiar?
Wow.
Didn't you send it to me, Andrew?
No.
You didn't send it to me?
No.
Well, nobody wrote their name on the back.
Okay.
Somebody sent it to me. I thought it was you. So that's a rivet from the MacArthur Bridge. That's from the bridge we just had up there on screen. And I forgot who sent it to me. I wish they'd wrote their name on the back. I thought it was Andrew. Oh.
No.
But yeah, that's a rivet. I was just down there 4 or 5 days ago. It doesn't look anything like it did 10 years ago. They've completely gotten rid of all of the Route 66 bridge on the west side. It's just totally 100% gone. There's no uprights. There's no structure. There's nothing left at all. I'm so bummed out. Somebody brought it to my attention back in the spring, and I really wanted to get down there and grab a few beams. I could have used them on something, but I just couldn't break away from work, unfortunately. So, but I've got this cool rivet, so that's cool. That's an old iron rivet. They used to get them all hot and then pound them in, and so I'm thankful to have that. Andrew, what else do we have to share from Australia?
My only other point was 2026, I guess, is I will be returning in 2026, which is a few years off now, but understanding, what celebrations, possibly are going to be occurring. And I hear this, I think they call it a bill in your parliament, government, I'm not sure what you're going to call it, but about
a bill of legislation. Yep. So, we're talking about trying to make Route 66 a national monument, but I don't know. It just seems to keep stalling.
Yes, yeah.
But
so we have the same challenges here. Yep.
Yeah. George just put up on the bottom of the screen July 22nd. That's this coming weekend. We'll be having our Missouri Route 66 quarterly meeting. It's free to join. You can just show up, but we would like to have somewhat of a good idea of who's going to be in attendance. So if you would scan that QR code below and join us, we'd love to see you there. Let's set up a few more of Andrew's photos, and he can explain maybe a little bit what we're looking at, because he's kind of gone deep tracks on us a little bit. He's gone into some of these remote areas that most people don't get into. What are we looking at right here?
Well, I know it's in Oklahoma, and you're going to correct me on the town, but yeah, it's where the bridge comes to an end. Well, there was a bridge there. The road bends round to an end. And someone had the owner had the harebrained scheme of cutting up all the concrete and trying to sell it. Come on, tell me what the town is. I've forgotten.
It's Luther, Oklahoma, and you're right.
Yeah.
It's the side of what we would refer to as a ghost bridge, because the bridge is gone, but the abutments are still there. And so that's one of my stenciled tags.
Yes.
So you got back in there, but yeah, you were right. For a long time, there was a fellow trying to sell little fragments of the road that you could own for $66. But he's since quit doing that. I don't know when he quit doing that, but I actually thought it was a good idea because, well, he was going to make money off of it. But the theory was if it had 500 different landowners, it could never be sold and destroyed. And I kind of liked that whole theory, but he was going to make a lot of money off of it. You know, I don't know what's 66 times 500. Let's see here. If he sold, that'd be $33,000. So I guess the idea didn't take off too well. But that is a remote section that most people don't get to see, but you can see this readily on Google Maps. There is a gate out there. It's been open and closed for, I don't know. There's really no reason as to why it's open or closed at any certain time. But I've been there when the gates close. I've been there when the gates open, obviously, because you see the shield there. So if you're interested in that, viewers, just go into Google Maps and type in Luther, Oklahoma, and then look to just west of the town, and you'll see it. It's this little orphan section north of current 66. What else we got, George? We got another picture. I think we do. He's finding it. Let's see here. Okay.
Oh, that's me. Yeah.
That's you. Now I had to doctor that photo up to get it to blow up.
Okay.
I'm guessing
that's 2005.
That's 2005. Is that out near Peach Springs?
Correct. That's exactly right. Yep.
Yay!
You got it.
I wasn't sure. I thought maybe Seligman. I was like, no, I think that looks like Peach Springs.
So I think they've updated the signage now. They don't use that signage for 66 anymore, do they? There.
I don't think they do. No, I was there in 06 and they had that signage, but the last time I was out there was just a year or two ago, and no, I don't remember seeing that signage anymore. Yeah, that's a good picture. You look really young there.
I do, yeah.
That's cool. That's cool. Okay, so I guess we'll get into the tip of the week right now. And quite simply, if you love it, share it. That's the best thing I can tell my viewers this week is if you really love something, share it. And maybe one of these broadcasts is one of those things that you love, because the more you share something, the more you give back life. When you share stuff, it gives life back to whoever's doing what. It could be a statue, it could be a roadside motel or a roadside hamburger stand or YouTube video or a Twitter message or anything else they're doing these days, TikTok things and stuff like that. If you love it, share it. And it helps people like me, I know, keep me encouraged to make more content. And it helps people like Andrew spend his money on things when he comes over here to the United States.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome. We'll be closing out here in just a little bit, Andrew. Do we have any other questions, George, or anything? Let me see here. Yeah. Rob Medlin and Adina Medlin, they have one of those blocks from that Luther segment. That's pretty funny. It's probably worth some money at this point. Let's see here. I'm looking through the comments and let's see here. Yeah, lots of good stuff. Nothing really. No questions though. So, okay,
no, you're just fishing. You're just fishing right now.
I'm fishing. I am fishing.
I know you are. It's okay.
Yeah, I'm looking. But Andrew, okay. So, what tip of the week would you give people out there who are watching? Because you're a well-seasoned 66 tourist.
Go your own way.
Okay.
I know.
I'm going to take it a step further. What does go your own way mean to you?
Whatever the direction takes me, I'll go. Yep.
So when you go, you like to have a little spontaneity in your trip. Yeah,
absolutely,
me too.
Yeah. And I constantly write things down now. I've never been there. Need to get back there. That's my next trip. Yeah. Just
keep good notes. That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's what I've started doing. I started keeping good notes during these shows and stuff because I've caught myself forgetting things. And as we get older, I think that happens more often. So yeah, take good notes, go your own way, leave some room for those spontaneous trips that just pop up.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, there is one question and then we'll close. What's your go-to place every time you get on the route for either of you?
Ooh.
Andrew, do you have a go-to place?
Ooh. I'm going to say it's Bridgeport.
Okay.
I've just got to get back there every time.
My answer is similar. I want to get to where people aren't. I want to get out into those remote sections where there aren't people and it's just me and the universe, like the energy, like, and the best place I can tell you, which we showed a little bit earlier in the video, is La Bajada. I find myself time and time again wanting to at least go back to La Bajada. I don't always get out there, but I have a strong desire always to go out to La Bajada. I love it out there. Okay.
Very
well,
good.
Andrew, thank you so much for coming on tonight. Enjoy the rest of your morning out there in the future. Yep. And we'd love to see you again on the show. And anything else you want to close out with?
There's not. No, thank you very much for having me. And thank you, Rich, for all the work that you do for the preservation of 66. I think you're a very special person.
Well, thank you for the kind words and the encouraging feedback. So, okay, Andrew, we'll catch up again down the road, man. We'll plan it out for March of next year.
Absolutely.
Okay, guys. Well, thank you all for tuning in tonight. I really appreciate it. Like we said earlier, please share the show. Catch us every week at 7 p.m. Central Sunday. You can also check us at our website. If you don't want to watch us on Facebook or YouTube, you can check out Hooked on Route66.com. Also, I'd like to take this moment to offer you the opportunity to donate to our cause. It does cost us money. Me, George, and George's son, George, we work pretty hard to do this. It costs a lot of money. So please click that donate link. Send us a few bucks. We'd really appreciate it. And at some point here, I'll make enough to where I can buy the George's dinner. I think they're hungry. They're starving. So please donate generously. Okay, folks, that's it for this week. Episode number 22, closing it out. I'm Roamin Rich. As always, go your own way. I'll see you down the road.